Budgeting is really hard. Like, really hard. Hi guys, gals and non-binary pals, welcome back to Budget with Ira. Sometimes it can be really common to make a mistake within your budget, and mistakes are okay, but sometimes you can make mistakes that only really rear their ugly head when it's kind of too late, like a couple of weeks down the line and you're like, oh, I can't believe I've done that. And then you forget the lesson and you keep on making that same mistake every single month. And like, don't get me wrong, mistakes are okay, like we learn from them, everybody makes mistakes. But sometimes we create own goals within our budget and kind of set ourselves up to fail because we're making financial mistakes. So in today's video, I'm going to be explaining the 5 common budget mistakes that you are making, or maybe not, I don't know your business. What's important to remember is that I am not a financial advisor, so obviously follow these tips at your own peril. So the first budget mistake that you may be making is that you're copying somebody else's budget. And while it is a wonderful thing that there is a budgeting community here online, something that it took me a while to remember is that everybody's budget is completely different. People have different priorities. People earn different amounts of money. People have different scenarios. So it wouldn't really make sense for me to compare myself to a single mother of 4 children living on Australia because their budget is entirely different to mine. It's important to not tell yourself that you're a failure when you aren't earning as much as them. It just means that your scenario is different. I love seeing on Instagram people who have said, oh, I've paid off, £100,000 of debt in less than a year. And do you know what? That's wonderful for you, but it's not possible for me, or it definitely wasn't possible for me. The reality is that some people just earn more money than me, and also people live in different countries to me. So when I see that I'm earning like £1,500 per year, and then when I see someone earning $2,000 a year, that doesn't mean they're earning more money. It's just a different currency. It just is different. So the important thing to take away is that everybody's journey is different. Work with what you have. If you aren't earning very much, or if you are earning a lot, it's going to look very different. So work out what's right for you. If budgeting creators are derailing you, or you compare yourself too much, maybe limit the amount that you watch. I mean, still watch me. Pulling yourself away from that scenario if you tend to compare yourself too much to other people might be a good solution temporarily. And then when you kind of get a handle of your own finances and your own budget and what that looks like, then come back to it. The second thing is that you are most likely depriving yourself of fun money. When I say fun money, that's stuff that you can use however you want, frivolously, however you want to spend it. I think the worst thing I did when I started my budgeting journey is I treated myself like rubbish, and I said to myself that I've got a lot of debt, so I don't deserve this and I don't deserve that. In the first couple of weeks, yeah, fine, that's all right, but I had to stop beating myself up about the debt that I got myself into. It isn't a healthy mindset to have. Also, even if you're not talking to yourself that way and you tell yourself, well, instead of giving myself £10 a week, £20 a week, whatever you want to give yourself to spend, instead of doing that to put that towards debt, yes, that might feel cool, but long term, you're gonna want to buy a coffee. You're gonna want to treat yourself to something. Like it will not last long term. And when you don't look after yourself in that way, you are way more likely to go off the rails and to blow out the budget, or to spend too much, or even reset everything that you've done. So it's just not worth it. Depriving yourself of money long term is absolutely impossible to maintain. I promise you that. I've tried it. It's just not worth it, and it's not a way to live. It really isn't. So my tip would be to always make sure you set aside some money for fun. Just some personal spending, a little bit of fun money. Do whatever the hell you want with it. Do whatever you want with it because it's your money and you've earned it and you deserve to spend it. Now, don't go crazy, but give yourself some money. Like, do it within a budget. When you are having fun and when you're buying yourself a takeaway, or getting your eyebrows done, or buying yourself that bag that you've wanted, when you do that and it's budgeted, it is guilt-free. Like, you've budgeted for it. It's absolutely fine, and it helps you stay focused on your budgeting journey, or getting out of debt, or building up your savings, whatever you're trying to do with your money. Number 3 is you're probably not being honest with yourself about your spending habits. And I know that I definitely did this before I started this channel. I would write down my spending and I go, oh yeah, we probably only spend this much on groceries. But really having a look at your transactions and things like that to actually see how much you're spending on groceries and things like that, and your spending habits and your subscriptions and things like that is so important. And actually really understanding where your money is going is so valuable. If you don't do this, you kind of have the my head's in the sand sort of situation where you don't really understand what's going on and you're still asking yourself the question at the end of every single month, where on earth did my money go? Once you've done that, actually having that tough conversation with yourself about, okay, now I understand where my money's going, talking to yourself and talking about what can you do about that. So for me, one of the conversations that I had with myself is that I was paying a lot out to my car. I had this car that I could kind of afford every single month, but it wasn't best for me going forward in terms of paying down debt and getting to the future that I wanted to. The thing about this car is I absolutely loved it, but the right answer for me was to trade down my car and get something that I don't quite like as much, but it is much less. So I made a saving of £50 every single month. And while in the month, because I loved that car so much, it just made me very unhappy. But long term, I have saved so much money from not having that car. And you know what? This car that I've got now is absolutely fine. It works for exactly what I need it to, so I shouldn't have grumbled. But without facing up to how much I was spending on things that I didn't necessarily need to, I wouldn't have been able to make that decision, and I would probably be behind where I am right now. When you're honest with yourself about how much you're spending, you'll understand what to cut and what to keep. Because there is another piece of the evaluation project in that when you have a look at something and you're like, okay, yeah, that is expensive, but it enriches my life in such a way that I can't live without it. So having tough conversations with yourself and being brutally honest with yourself about where your spending is can lead you in very different places. So let's say, for instance, maintaining your eyebrows is so important to you. It's a really important part of self-care, but it isn't necessarily that important, but you're willing to sacrifice a bit of groceries to make that happen. That's a fine and valid budgeting thing to do. So my top tip is to write down everything that you're spending your money on and really taking a good look about what you need and what you can do without, and trying to make cuts and making everything work for you. Mistake number 4 is that you're not tracking your spending. Now that sounds like something that you shouldn't necessarily need to do, but honestly, you can make so many mistakes and really undo so much hard work by just not keeping on top of what you're spending your money on. It is really hard to stay on track, but having somewhere where you write down or can look up what you're spending your money on a daily, weekly, monthly basis is so important. Overspending is very easy to do, and recovery from an overspend can be really difficult as well. But also, if you overspend in week 1, by week 4, that's completely forgotten about. And then you could overspend again because you feel like you've got a bit of flex in your budget where you really don't have it. So to avoid getting overwhelmed by where is my money and what am I spending it on this week and all that sort of stuff, it's probably crucial to write down everything that you're getting. Now this could be digitally or on a piece of paper, whatever works for you, but being able to quickly look up just where you're at with everything is vital, I would say. Because if you understand your progress throughout the week or the month, then you can make smart decisions about what you can do. The one thing that I would say, that attempting to track things mentally is incredibly dangerous, because these minds, especially mine, but these minds are not as good as a bit of paper or a computer or a phone, because you will forget things. So my top tip is to track your spending. Make sure that you're itemizing absolutely everything that you're spending your money on, and the more tedious it is, means you're probably spending a bit too much anyway. And the last mistake that you're making is that you're not factoring all of your quarterly, annual, bi-weekly, bi-monthly expenses. If you only take a snapshot of what you're spending within that month, yes, your month might be fine, but then something's gonna come along and smack you in the mouth. And I'm talking things like annual subscriptions to things like Amazon and things like that, water bills where they're not exactly going to ask you for money every month. I have it set up where they give me a bill every 6 months. And you could be having 6 wonderful budget months and then all of a sudden that bill comes through the door and you've got nothing for it. And it kind of underdoes everything that you've done and it makes you feel like budgeting doesn't work. If you are remembering all of your annual and your 6 months and your bi-monthly and all of those expenses and putting aside a little bit of money every single week or month or whatever works for you to make sure that you can pay for those when the bill comes, that is so vital. So for me, I have my water bill. It's about £150 every 6 months. So I put away £25 every single month because then when the bill comes, I've got the money for it. It is the best thing in the world because then you kind of look forward to bills because you're hoping that they're slightly under, so you've got a little bit of money to play around with, rather than the opposite, which would be dreading a bill to come because you've got nothing for it. Being overwhelmed by a large expense can completely derail months of hard work. So my top tip is to set aside money every single month or every single week for those bills that you know are coming up and making sure that you've got something planned for there. Now, you might not be able to get all of the money for it, but at least having something to help you out so that it just doesn't become really difficult when that bill pops its ugly head. I really hope you enjoyed those and I hope you enjoyed those top tips, and I say those out of my own experience because I've learned those lessons. I've fallen over those mistakes countless times. So I hope that they've helped you in some small way. Thank you so much for getting through to the end of the video. You know I love it when you get through to the end of the video. Please give this video some love. Make sure you like, comment, share and subscribe. And if you are going to comment, please use this emoji. If you aren't subscribed, please make sure you subscribe. It means so much to me. Thank you so much to everybody who has already subscribed. Over on Patreon, we are having a wonderful time. At the end of this week, I'll be showing you what August is going to look like. So if you want to know what August looks like, make sure you join Patreon before Saturday because, August is a beaut. I want to say a massive welcome to Samantha Walker and Lowry Davis for our new patrons. Thank you so much for joining. Your support means so much to me. Genuinely, thank you so much. Thank you so much to everybody who's supporting me on Buy Me a Coffee. Literally, thank you so much. We're saving up to buy an annual membership for some amazing video editing software. So we are well over 25% towards that. So thank you so much to everybody who has donated. It just means so much. Thank you so much. We have the vlog coming up on Sunday, so I hope you're going to enjoy that one. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful budget. Always remember, don't trust Ira. And I will see you again next week. Thanks so much for watching, bestie. Bye-bye.